everybody, and welcome to the ACC conference tournament. Picking predictions here. Win totals, conference winner. Listen, let's start first. If you haven't already, hit the like button here on the Sean Higgs channel. Midday Money. That is my show 7 days a week, 12 noon Eastern. Winning Free Picks is where you find the premium stuff if you're just coming across this. Yeah, I've been on sites for a long time, 20 years almost. All right. I'm not I got the Canes flag in the back. I got the Schnellenberger signed mini helmet. I like the Canes, although I'm not a Homer Canes fan. All right, you'll hear that in my breakdown here. If you are a Homer fan to a ACC team or a Big Ten, Big West, Mountain West, Sun Belt, Colonial, CA, whatever, whether it be basketball or football, I do a video. Please share your thoughts. All I do is roll out a handful of college football preview magazines. I run through them, try to find some interesting tidbits here that pretty much is general knowledge in May and June and July here. On the betting side of the thing, I look at the win totals, week to week schedule. We'll run down schedules. I think team so-and-so, this and that. But the in-depth kind of stuff, you're not going to get that. That's not what we do. It's just we're about the betting side of things. Is it worth betting over? Is it an under? Do you want to take a flyer on something for September, October, November, December, January, 5+ months for a little return on something? It's up to you. It's up to you. Daily stuff, weekly, turn into midday money. At night, look ahead lines. We'll cover a bunch of games. Let's start covering Florida State. Oh, DJ Uiagalelei. He couldn't win at Clemson. They kicked him out. Now he's back from the Pac-12. The fact that this guy could face Clemson and the quarterback who he was pulled for in the 2022 championship game is stuff that's, movies are made of, as they say. But again, here we go. Let's just talk simple kind of stuff here. 9.5 win total to win the conference plus 270. Should they be the favorite? Probably, right? I mean, we'll talk about Clemson next. Are we sold on the quarterback? You couldn't get Clemson over the hump. Now you're going to come in here and have to beat Clemson? I don't want to say they're overrated. They get ambushed in a championship game, which happens when you have no quarterback. I do like the over. You look at the schedule. It's favorable for them to win games. I'm going to run it down right now for you here. We can talk about it. Georgia Tech. Now, if you watch the Midday Money Show, I've been telling you for weeks now, Georgia Tech was 13.5. I see 12s now. The win totals are from July the 15th on FanDuel, so maybe they may have moved. This isn't like live today. I do live shows all the time, not live in the preview department here. Georgia Tech's a win. BC's a win. Memphis at home, even though Memphis is the favorite in the AAC. That's a win. That's 3-0 California. 4-0 at SMU. 5-0 Clemson at home. Here we get a little tricky. Are you beating Clemson at home? You should. You're home. 6-0. At Duke 7-0. At Miami. Tough one there simply because it's Miami for real. We'll talk about them later. We'll say 6-0, and we'll leave a finger up for Miami. North Carolina home, 7-0. At Notre Dame, leave a finger up there. That's 2. Charleston Southern Florida at home, win. We got 9 wins here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 wins with Miami and Notre Dame pending. Both on the road. We're at 10. It is plus 104. What they're telling you is that this team might not win at SMU or they lose at home to Clemson. Are they getting knocked off by Memphis at home? The plus 104, I don't understand it. Georgia Tech win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Duke 7. Carolina 8, 9. I have 10 wins before their 3 toughest games: Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. Over. And I will add at the end of the show. Let's just do it in here. That is going there. At the end, I'll roll them all out here for you to see. But I'll say over in this game. Next up, the Clemson Tigers. No water left. Wonderful. Clemson is sitting at a 8.5 minus 172. 172 in a win. Under plus 140 if you want to go that route. So, as I mentioned, 2022 championship game, DJU is pulled out. Here comes Kate Klubenik. What has he done? AP top 10 preseason last 3 years. Never finished out in 13. Downtrend? I don't know. We don't like the portal? I think you need to get a little portal. I talked about this. I was with Gabe Morrissey and Cam Stewart. I do a little sports grid radio sometimes at night. And we're talking about this. I'm like, you don't have to bring in 15 guys. I get it. Can you bring in a wide receiver? You used to have Sammy Watkins, T. Higgins. I mean, come on, get a big guy in there. You only need one, maybe two. You don't need to be a team that brings in 24 portal guys. I get it. 1 or 2 guys ain't gonna hurt you, Dabo. Again, to me, it feels like it's a down program. But let's look at this 8.5 wins here. It is juicy. 170. I don't like laying 135 in baseball. I'm gonna lay 172 for 8.5 wins. But let's go through it. At Georgia, 13.5-point dogs in Atlanta. I don't think they win that. Do they cover it? That's another thing. But let's talk about win or loss. That's a loser. Appalachian State, 1-1. NC State home, 2-1. Stanford home, 3-1. At Florida State, let's say 3-2. At Wake, 4-2. And I'm hesitant there because maybe they get demolished and they're just demoralized and they're in an ugly game. But 4-2. Virginia, 5-2. Louisville at home will not be easy, but they should get there. 6-2. Vatech, I think Vatech might catch them. Let's say 6-3. At Pitt, 7-3. Citadel, 8. South Carolina, 9-3. And again, that's what me saying they lose to Virginia Tech. Do I want to lay? Again, 172. Not really interested in laying 172 here. Lots got to go right for that. Florida State. I think Louisville's tough. Virginia, I think on the road's a tough one there. South Carolina home, you should get it done. I get it. I don't know. I don't think I could lay to 172 here. 4-1 to win the conference. Again, no thank you. No divisions now. 17 teams in this ACC. Don't want to lay 172 with Clemson. I don't think so. Oh, my Hurricanes. Here we go. 9.5 plus 138 for the Canes. Under juicy minus 170. They don't think they're going to win 10 games this year. I say it here. Hot seat for Cristobal. I'm not going to lie. Loads of talent on his team. Underachieving bunch. The guy is 12-13 here. He can recruit at the wazoo. That's great. But if you don't put the X's and O's and execute a plan, you're a 500 squad. I mean, let's just talk about the whole let's fumble the ball up 1 and the guy's running in for a touchdown and lose a game and your whole season collapses. Florida, week 1, 2-point favorites. I'll tell you what. Let's go. All right, we'll talk about Cam Ward coming in for Oregon State. Super. Virginia Tech. and Florida State both at home. At Louisville. Let's go. You don't beat Florida in week 1, the sky is falling. Here it comes, Chicken Little. Florida A&M, Ball State, South Florida. Again, I'll leave the Florida game up there. That's 3 wins. Virginia Tech, at Cal. I don't think that could be easy. At Louisville. This is a tricky, licky schedule here. Say they lose to Florida. They bounce back for 3 straight wins. Can I see a Virginia Tech spot? I mean, Virginia Tech is not easy out at home. They're tough. At Cal, I think could win some games. I want to talk about Cal in a minute. I'm not going to say I like the over here, but I'll tell you early. I kind of like that Cal over 6.5. At Louisville, this guy could be fired before the Florida State game. I mean, really, if Miami is falling off the rails, bad Miami or Cristobal being a bad coach, they might have 4 losses here. At Cal, at Louisville, Florida State home, Duke at Georgia Tech, Wake at Syracuse. Let's be honest. This can come into a possible undefeated regular season if things go right for them. The talent is there. Cam Ward's healthy. Cristobal doesn't make any bonehead plays. You got your tough games at home. Is the Louisville game a little trap before Florida State and after you beat Virginia Tech and Cal on the road? Maybe. I mean, you do have a bye week in between there to not get the rust or the cobwebs, however you want to put it, get back train of thought going on there. But at Louisville before Florida State could be a tricky one. This team is either going to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, they could have been 11 games to go undefeated, or they could be a 500 team. I do not trust Mario Cristobal at all. That being said, as a fan of the team, you got the Washington State the Oregon State quarterback, the Washington State running back. Is that right, Cam Ward? Or is it vice versa? Maybe it's vice versa. Washington State and Oregon State. You got 2 good transfers in here in the backfield. One a QB, one a running back. Their defense is all right. I'm going to say for a plus 138, I think for a plus 138, you can maybe make a small little wager there. It's 9.5. It's plus 138. This team is either I don't want to say a title contender in the bowl playoff. They're a playoff team to get there. And again, if all goes right, it could be special. But it's Miami. They haven't been special in 20 years. I don't want to lay minus 170. I'd rather come in at plus 138. It's like when I do a run line. Do I want to let's lay 115 on team. Let's take a 160 instead on a run line in baseball. Same thought here. This is a all or not. They're either really good or it's a 500 scrub bunch. Louisville, over 8.5 plus 750 to win. I'll tell you what, I'm a Brown guy. I like Brown. Here we go. I think he retires here. I do. He's got a great situation here. Home versus the Canes. You're at Clemson. Championship game last year. Who saw that coming? Tyler Shaw, Texas Tech, 2,900 yards, 20 TDs. I got sleeper in here. I do. I think they could be sneaky kind of good. I like the over. This one I didn't even have to add in. This was an official overplay already in the books. So there is that. Not much to say here. I like the team. I mean, it's good. Might take a couple more years to leapfrog Florida State and Clemson, but he's Louisville, not just basketball, not just your daddy's basketball team or granddad's for some of you. NC State over 8.5 minus 134 plus 550. Here comes the Grayson McCall show. Everybody loved this kid last year, right? Why won you? 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. It's pretty darn good. How does it translate to the ACC? Well, we're going to find out nice and early. Tennessee week 2, Clemson week 4. Are they real or are they not? No Miami, no Seminoles. I don't know what to think. I kind of want to take Tennessee there in week 2. You know what? I should have pulled up a line for that game. We can find out how good this guy is. Next up, Virginia Tech. I like this little group here. I like Virginia Tech. I do. 8.5. Under is juicy 158. I disagree with that juicy thing. I think these guys are a little sleeper club themselves. You got a bunch of starters returning back. Another year of head coach, growing a team. Here's the problem. Louisville, Florida State, and NC State, they lost to good teams last year. Can you beat the big boys? Hokies? I don't know. At Vandy win, Marshall win, Old Dominion win, Rutgers at home. I'm a Jersey guy. You see the license plate. I'm all for the rack at some East Brunswick and food trucks. Rutgers, I think, is going to be a little good this year. You're home. Take care of business. You're 4-0 going into Miami. Do you pull the upset? Say you're 4-1. No shame in losing Miami, who might be on their way to a really good season. At Stanford should be a win. I'm not high on Stanford. BC, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1. Georgia Tech 7-1 at the Cuse. Say the Cuse wins there. So 7-3, 7 Clemson at home. Doesn't make a difference because you got win number 8 at Duke and win number 9 against Virginia. So you want to go over this 8.5. I am not going to stand in your way. I like it. Who's the quarterback? Drones. Sign me up for some Virginia Tech over plus 128. Adding it to the end of the show. Picks. Plus 128. Next up, we're not even halfway through this ginormous conference. Are you kidding me here? All right, I got the SMU coming in here. 16-1. Why not? You won the AAC last year. Couldn't you be back-to-back champs? That's why I put that in there. I don't know. 8.5. Preston Stone, he's a slinger. 3,200 yards last year. But you lost to Oklahoma, TCU, and BC in a bowl game, which was like a whole game for BCU. I kind of like TCU and SMU in that spot, but I was like, oh, boy, BC is playing at home. You're just now playing Oklahoma and TCU in a off-scheduled kind of game now. Now you have full big boys. Nevada to start. I don't think that's an easy one. Again, Nevada's not going to be good, but, you're going on a road. Here you go. Houston Christian, BYU, TCU, Florida State, Louisville. These are tough sledded. BYU is not a great team, but they're not a terrible team. It's something I'd be a little, even at home. BYU travels. They're a rough little bunch there. I don't know if I could get into the even a plus 104. I would probably lean minus 128 here on the under. That would be my lean. Just don't like how the schedule breaks up here. Don't like it. Cal at home the end of the year. That's not bad travel for Cal to California. It's Cal to Texas. It's not that bad for Cal. They might be playing for a bowl spot there. Yeah, not really loving it. Sorry, folks. Sorry, Mustang fans. North Carolina, Mac Brown. Are you kidding me? 35 years. Drake May is not saving the day here, but Max Johnson, a lot of starts here. 22, nearly 6,000 yards, almost 50 touchdowns. A&M and LSU. This is the thing. Like, this guy puts up numbers like this. He can't find a home. Is he part of the problem? Is it because he gets hurt? Listen, here's another team. We talked about Virginia Tech being good teams. These guys lose to Georgia Tech, Clemson, NC State, talking about not beating. Now, Georgia Tech's having a good team, just a rando loss. And that's with a guy in the NFL. But the schedule to me has me going over here. Minnesota on the road. We're going to get a taste. I kind of like the early matchups with middle kind of teams. Like, how are they going to be? Charlotte winner, NC Central, James Madison, all home. Should be 4-0 at Duke, 5-0. Home versus Pitt, 6-0. Georgia Tech, probably a win. Tech's at Virginia, 7. Florida State, I mean, they have 7 wins heading into November. You should be all right here. What is that? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. I'm sorry. 8-0 heading into November 2nd versus Florida State. Home versus Wake. Home versus NC State. At BC in between there. I think the schedule sets up for them to get some wins here. But there you go. Over 7.5 is just a -115. Here's Georgia Tech. I keep mentioning them. Week 0 here against Florida State. Take the points, baby. Let's go. In Ireland. Second toughest schedule in the ACC. Are you kidding me? All bowl teams, I believe here. I mean, Syracuse, Louisville, Carolina, Notre Dame, Georgia. Can you make it any harder? Can you make it any harder for poor Georgia Tech? I mean, look at this mess. I mean, Georgia State and VMI are the cupcakes on this schedule here. Georgia, NC State, Miami, Virginia, Notre Dame, North Carolina. All right, Duke wasn't a bowl team last year, right? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rambling Wreck fans. And somehow the over is -142. Where are they getting 5 wins? Please tell me. Georgia State and VMI's 2. Are you beating Duke? Is it because you're going to beat Duke at home? That's 3 wins. Where else are they winning? Where else are they winning? At Syracuse? At Louisville? At North Carolina? Notre Dame in Atlanta? At Virginia? At my home versus Miami or NC? Where are the wins coming from? Under is +116 if you want to take some plus money. The Cuse, they're happy up in the Carrier Dome. They got a new coach. He's a pretty decent recruiter here in Fran Brown, and he gets them a little Kyle McCord here from OSU. Now, like always, they'll come off to a fast start. That's what Syracuse usually does, right? They start 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. You think they're really good. Then all of a sudden they have all the big schools. Well, no Clemson or Florida State on the schedule this year for them. So Ohio, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Holy Cross all at home. You're 4-0 heading to UNLV. You're winning UNLV? If you're a real program? Let's go, Orange. At NC State, at Pitt. So now it gets a little tricky because you got 3 road games. You're in Vegas, North Carolina, and back at Pitt. Tough little stretch. Home versus Virginia Tech. That's not easy. Virginia, I've talked about Virginia Tech. You don't like them. At BC, at Cal. You're in BC and then flying out to California. And then back home versus Connecticut should be a nice win against Connecticut. Ending at home versus Miami, what's that team going to be? 1 loss Miami? Is that your Super Bowl going in there? Knock them out of a playoff picture, perhaps? I don't know. I don't know about that one. Big rebuild, a lot of transfers, a lot of stuff going on there. I'd have to lean under the 132 here. It's under juicy to 132, so under the 7.5 would probably be a little look for me there. Oh, Virginia, 4.5. This is a team. Here we go. You have 2 quarterbacks. You have none. Both guys started 6 games last year. Well, you went 2-6 in the ACC. The bright side, you had some close losses. 5 losses by single digits, 4 by 3 or less. So you're kind of fighting. And when you have a bad defense, you're probably going to have a tough time. Tough schedule. And why wouldn't it be? I mean, you roll it out here. You got Richmond, it should be a win. Wake on the road, probably loser. Maryland home. It gets tough, though. I mean, at Coastal, Boston College, Louisville, Clemson, North Carolina, Pitt, Notre Dame, SMU, and Virginia Tech. I don't know. There's no juice on the win or loss here. It's 4.5 -110 either way. Again, Virginia fans, can you tell me who's going to be the starter here? Who's getting the early nod? Or are we going to be playing yin-yang ball? Here we go. Pac-12 Khaled here. 6.5 wins. Unders juice to 180. I'm telling you, I like the over here. Give me the over. Over plus 146. I'm adding it to the banner at the bottom here whenever we get to it because there's just a never-ending array of 17 Pac-12 ACC teams. The travel does concern me a bit here. So I have it set up here. So they're home versus San Diego State, at Florida State, home Miami, at Pitt, then a double home game at Wake, a double home game at SMU. You know, I kind of like the coach. They recruit pretty decent. Can you keep the kids here traveling to the East Coast? I think we're going to steal some wins here. I do. I like the over 6.5. BC in a bit of a rebuild. NFL route here with Bill O'Brien taking over. The old Belichick guy. Texans, Penn State. I mean, he's been around here. He's got some NFL guys on the staff. Sure, will that help? Possibly. I don't know. The minus 152 over says they're probably going to get there, right? It's one they don't move to 5. I think it's going to be a long year. I disagree with the odds makers here. Minus 152 on the over. I want to lean a little under here. You're again home games here, or excuse me, away games at Florida State, Missouri, Virginia Tech, and SMU. I mean, that's not terrible. Not terrible on because you only got a couple. But at home, listen, Duquesne's a win. You should beat Michigan State. Western Kentucky's another one. This is where I think where the 4.5 is juicy. Duquesne, Michigan State, Kentucky. Virginia on the road should be a win. Now it comes to, are you winning your home games? You close the year 4-5 at home. You know, you got Virginia Tech after Virginia. Louisville at home, tough. Syracuse, I mean, you might win that one. At the SMU, I'm giving the SMU that one. Home versus North Carolina, home versus Pitt. And again, NC and Pitt, I mean, Pitt to me, we're going to be talking about the next, or 5.5 win team. These are wins you should win at home. These are winnable games. Even though North Carolina has a 7.5 win total, it's possible. Again, for me, I think they're going to have some losses just because you can bring in a new coach and all this new stuff changes the way a complexion of a quarterback. That's, again, didn't bet it. Here comes Pitt, over 5.5. Narduzzi, year 10 for this guy. 2 nice years, and then 3-9 last year. 11-3, 11-3, 9-4. West Carolina, that's where they go for some young blood. He brings his wide receiver running back with him. But the QB, listen, you got a guy who has been in the program for 6 years as a backup, and then you're bringing in a Bama transfer. I don't know what to think here. I think by them going to get – I mean, did he bring in a 31-year-old assistant to get fresh blood? Or I look at it as if it falls apart, do they let him go and let this OC take over because he's young and bringing in the upstart offense that he had in West Carolina, which was pretty good offense, 37 points per game. Running back went for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. Wide receiver, 83 catches, 1,400 yards, 14 TDs. So are they going to think, you know what, we don't need 10 years, thank you. We don't need another 5-win season. We're going to go the youth movement here. To me, it's a Pitt stay away here. Panther backers, let me know what's the thought process out here. The Steel City. Wake Forest, 4.5. Listen, I'm a Dave Clawson guy. I like the coach. I do. But 1-7 last year. We got another 6-year QBs here. Louisiana Tech and a backup for Wake for the last 6 years. I'm not loving this. That's tough. That being said, 5 of the first 6 here are at home. North Carolina A&T win. Virginia should be a win. Ole Miss, probably not a win. Louisiana, who knows? At NC State at Clemson, gets a little tricky. At Connecticut should be a win. Stanford, I'm not loving Stanford. I didn't even add Stanford to the thing. I think they're the worst team in the conference. I mean, I barely got a write up on Duke. Home versus Cal. Maybe that's a good spot. Maybe they steal one from Cal because that's a bad travel spot. I'm not loving Wake Forest. I'm not. And Duke here. Listen, 5.5 win total for Duke. Third staff in 4 years here. It's a rebuild. You got a Texas transfer quarterback. You got a running back from NC State. You lost 4 defensive linemen. You lost a bunch of starters here on the defensive line, linebacker, safety spots. I like Manny Diaz. The guy's done better for Miami than the guy they replaced him with in taking over Miami. But I can't get involved with this. And again, minus 172. I don't want anything to do with that one either as well. And Stanford, listen, I didn't even do a write-up on them. Second toughest schedule out here. Like Cal, big travel. Not loving it. Troy Taylor's got some work to do. But here we go. For show picks, what time is it? It is 31:10. Florida State over, 9.5 plus 104. Canes over, 9.5 plus 138. Virginia Tech, that's an over. 128. Let's go over. Forgot to add their win total in there. We just had the plus money, which is nothing wrong with adding plus money. And Cal over, 6.5 plus 146. You see a trend here. I'd rather go plus money than lay minus 150s. If you're an ACC fan, if you're a fan of either team here, any of these 17 teams, let me know what you think. These are, again, half-hour show here. We've got so many games. These used to be like 10-minute videos. Now we have so many conferences, or so many teams in these conferences. Ridiculous. Appreciate you watching. Mr. Sean Higgs on Twitter. Hit the like button here on the YouTube channel. Give it a follow. And for daily stuff, when the season starts, be sure to watch the Midday Money Show. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.